Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows from shows ranging from the 90s to today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Cynthia.
And one thing we didn't tell you in the first episode is that I have seen the show and Cynthia has not. And what we're talking about is Dawson's Creek.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing today?
Fine, how are you?
Tired.
Same. So now we are going to go into the second episode.
No, we're just moving right in.
You don't want to? Or?
No, we can go.
Okay. So the second episode is called Dance, and it aired on January 27th, 1998.
And the synopsis is...
It's the night of the school dance. Dawson reveals his feelings for Jen. Joey confronts Dawson's mom with what she has seen, and Pacey confronts his teacher over that kiss. Okay, so we start off with everybody on set for Dawson's film. They were in the middle of a scene with Joey and Pacey's characters. Joey had to kiss Pacey for the shot but pulled away at the last second. We switched to Dawson, Joey rewatching the scene on a tape in his room. Dawson was frustrated that Joey refused to kiss Pacey and tried to explain that she wasn't kissing him. It was her character kissing his character. The movie wouldn't work without the kiss. Joey sighs and lays back on Dawson's bed, saying Pacey was so unkiss-worthy. Dawson says, "Do it for me?" Joey replies, "Why don't you kiss him?"
Did you see the mannequin's head?
That he was working on, yeah.
That thing is so ugly. Oh.
And then he says he can't kiss Pacey because his lips are reserved for someone else. Sitting up, she asks Dawson if he's kissed Jen yet and to not wait forever because she's from New York where things move fast. And then Joey asks for a rewrite in which Dawson says that's too bad because she definitely has kissing lips, which isn't very platonic to say, but okay. And while saying that, he did show her the mannequin, which does look indeed very bad. And he also said that she gives a good lip, even though that mannequin looked nothing like her. Okay, now after the theme song, Dawson walks into Mr. Gold's classroom, the one who teaches the film class, and he tries to convince to let him spend his study hall period in the classroom instead of the library, which happens to be the same class period as the film class. Mr. Gold says Dawson will sit back quietly and not participate.
Yeah, okay. Dawson being quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see that.
Next, we see Pacey walk into Miss Jacobs' classroom to confront her about the kiss. He urges him to leave and pretend she didn't know what he's talking about. Pacey continues talking about it right in front of her class for the next period. This was really risky because the students in the front row would be able to easily hear what they're saying.
Didn't you see how close they were standing?
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever stood that close to a teacher?
No.
Me either.
But even if, it's not even just the front row. It could be the whole classroom that can easily hear
Well,
it.
I know, especially because when I was in school, I was nosy.
Mm-hmm.
I would feel like somebody have to, see that and hear. Because I would just wonder why our classmate is that close to our teacher.
Mm-hmm. Now it's lunchtime and Joey, Pacey, and Jen are sitting at a table together. Dawson joins them and starts saying they must work long hours to meet the festival's deadline. Both Joey and Pacey don't want to kiss each other, so Dawson rewrites Joey's character's death that happened sooner in the movie and her cousin played by Jen to take her place. He's excited about this change. They all agree to it. We are now seeing Mrs. Jacobs' class discuss the book Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, which is about Heathcliff, an orphan who falls in love with a girl above his class, loses her, and devotes the rest of his life to getting revenge on her family. Miss Jacobs uses the book's plot to discreetly get through to Pacey about their kiss and how they could never have a relationship. She says Heathcliff and Catherine never belonged together. They should never have been together. Catherine was essentially a mess. Heathcliff was basically a decent guy who had to learn a lot about life, and he was inherently better off without some whimpering, mentally unstable wet rag following him around. The whole thing was wrong, never should have happened. She even goes as far as saying the author should have saved her ink. That was harsh, but she must get Pacey to understand somehow. Now, during his study hall in Mr. Gold's film class, Dawson finds out the students in the film class are submitting a film for the festival about the football team's last game. He's angry their film is his competition. We see Jen down the hallway when Cliff Yep. Walks up to Jen and asks her out.
Well, did you see before that Nellie was in both Pacey and Dawson's class?
Oh, yeah.
And it was just too much Nellie. I mean,
Right.
we had the first scene was Pacey, and then the second was Dawson's. Like, I don't need her in that much scenes.
Yeah. But Jen tells Cliff that she needs more time to settle in before she starts dating. Now, the next scene, Dawson asks his dad the awkward question about kissing. This whole scene was kind of bizarre. Don't you think?
Yes, I barely could watch it the first time.
Surprised he went to his dad and not a friend, too, but his dad explains how kissing is done. And while he's doing this, Joey climbs into Dawson's bedroom through the window and quietly makes her way to the stairs where she can see and hear their conversation. Mr. Leary tells him to use the mannequin head to practice on. He tells him to close his eyes before making contact, and at the same moment, Joey closes her eyes as well. For someone who says she doesn't like Dawson, she keeps showing signs of it.
You know, to me, it wasn't even a funny scene. It was just so awkward. I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, neither. Now, with Joey still upstairs, she hears whispering down the hall to Dawson's parents' bedroom. It's Dawson's mom on the phone. Sounds like she's being sneaky, talking to her co-worker, Bob. Miss Leary walks out of her bedroom after she hangs up and is startled to see Joey right outside her door. Joey says she's looking for Dawson to film his movie, but before she leaves to go find him, she tells Dawson's mom, I know, me and her affair with her co-worker.
So, from the last episode, I asked you what you would do. Do you think Joey did the right thing telling his mom instead of telling him?
Well, yeah, I probably would have just pretended I didn't hear anything, probably. Would you?
I don't know. I'd probably tell Dawson.
Well, I mean, in just that moment with his mom.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have told the mom.
Yeah. But yeah, I would have tried to somehow tell Dawson very gently about what I'm suspecting that's happening.
Well, because at least if he doesn't take it right, then just be like, well, I mean, I told you.
Yeah. Now we get to the lake where they're filming the movie, and we finally learn what the mannequin was going to be used for, to kill her character off by decapitation. After the scene, Jen helps Joey get changed and cleaned up, because they use a lot of fake blood. Jen does compliment Joey's body as she changed, and they go back and forth complimenting each other's bodies along with telling each other their insecurities, which is nice, but I was surprised they got close like this so soon.
Yeah, I mean, they just met, and Joey can't stand Jen, so it didn't really look right.
Right. And then in this scene, I noticed that the subtitles for me, because I watch with subtitles, that they had put that Jen said, I'll take these wet things inside, meaning Joey's clothes, but she didn't actually say that line out loud, so I wonder what happened there. It's now Pacey and Jen's turn to film the rest of the movie. Pacey goes in for the kiss, but it's really dramatic with him dipping her, and Dawson gets mad with jealousy and yells cut, making him want to cut the kiss out altogether. They decide that's it for today. While walking with Jen, Dawson says in honor of the school dance tonight, he's rented Saturday Night Fever, Staying Alive, and Grease. Jen tells Dawson she can't stand to watch the movies because she's going to the dance with Cliff, which is surprising since she just said she needed more time to settle in, and we didn't see him ask her out to the dance again. Now we're in Dawson's bedroom.
Oh, well, before that.
Yeah.
Joey walks up to Pacey.
Oh, yeah.
And is like, oh, what are you doing tonight? If she really can't stand him, why is she asking him what he's doing? I mean, I don't care about what people I don't like are doing. I don't know, it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah. And now learning about Jen going to the dance with Cliff, Dawson's really mad and he's going back and forth in his room in front of Joey about it and saying, how could she be attracted to him? What's he got? Joey jokes, saying we could start with his chest measurement and work down. After thinking about them being at the dance together, Dawson decides he's going to the dance. He's determined to kiss Jen. Okay, so he's going to crash the party.
Well, and then did you hear her say, you're so dramatic? And I agree.
Yeah. As Joey waits for Dawson to get changed, she walks downstairs to hear Mrs. Leary tell her husband she'll be at work late tonight. Joey sits at the bottom of the stairs. When Dawson's mom walks past, she doesn't see her until Joey says, good night, Mrs. Leary, yet startling her again. Joey confronts Dawson's mom about her affair. Once again, Joey says her dad cheated on her mom and it almost tore her family apart. She goes on to say the reason she's doing this can't outweigh the damage she's creating.
I mean, she already told his mom that she knows.
Yeah.
So leave it at that.
Yeah.
Now she's just getting too involved.
Mm-hmm. But what she said is so true with the damage she's creating.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
And Miss Leary responds with, "Does Dawson know?" And of course, the timing is perfect.
He comes down the stairs.
Walking in saying, "Know what?" Joey covers for his mom at the last second and says, "How to dance. I told her we were going." I can see why she did that to protect Dawson. But she should find a way to tell him later on.
Mm-hmm.
So now Joey and Dawson make it to the dance to see Jen and Cliff dancing. Dawson asks Joey to dance to make Jen jealous, but it's a slow song. They begin dancing with Joey looking at Dawson and Dawson looking for Jen. He lost sight of her in the crowd. He now makes eye contact with Joey and says she's pretty good at dancing. They get lost in each other's eyes for a moment until Cliff and Jen end up swaying right next to them. They make small talk with them until Dawson gets uncomfortable seeing them together and pulls Joey away from them. Sometime later, Dawson sees Jen exit the gym and follows her. Jen says she wants to dance with Dawson, but he says, "What about Cliff? He might get upset being your date and all." And she gets mad, saying forget about it, and walks into the girls' bathroom. He goes to follow her in by instinct until the screams of girls stop him from going too far.
Yeah, he went far with this whole scene.
Mm-hmm. Back in the gym, Joey sits next to Dawson as he watches Jen from afar, torturing himself. She tries to convince him to leave with her. Dawson says he can't leave because he knows there's something between him and Jen. Joey looks off to the side as if this is hard for her to hear. Dawson takes it farther by saying he feels the same way for Jen, the way he feels about Joey. They both challenge him. "She could be you," he says, as if that's not the most confusing thing ever.
Except for she's Jen.
Yep, exactly. Joey tells him he's like the monster in his movie. He doesn't get the girl, but instead dies a horrible death. Then gets up and he asks her where she's going, with her responding, "I'm already dead, remember?" Another good line. Then walks away. Dawson thinks the time now is different with Jen. And he goes up to where Jen and Cliff are on the floor dancing, asking to cut in. After Cliff not letting Dawson dance with Jen, they argue about how the others should be leaving. Jen gets tired of this and says she'll leave, and she does.
Right before she pushes Dawson out of the way.
We now see Dawson, Joey, and Pacey walking back from the dance. Dawson blames Joey for what he did with Jen, of course, and mentions how Pacey left him hanging. It's true because Pacey was trying to get through to Miss Jacobs the whole night, again.
In front of everyone they know.
And, staff, too. Other teachers and everything. So, at this point, if someone doesn't suspect them, I don't know.
And how can they not? There has to be someone in that school that
notices something.
Right, that, you're in the same class.
Mm-hmm.
And now you went to the dance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not realistic that not one person would know.
Yeah. Dawson asks about who this mystery woman is. Pacey says she's also a mystery to him. They say goodnight as they reach Pacey's house. Pacey ends up meeting Miss Jacobs at the pier again, where she apologizes for her behavior, and nothing can ever happen like that again, but of course it does. They kiss again.
Yeah, right before she steps forward closer to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, you did not need to get closer to him.
Right. She has no self-control.
I mean, you're the teacher, remember?
Mm-hmm. The adult.
And remember, he's only 15.
Mm-hmm. That's way, way, way too.
Well, then he was like that he consented to the kiss.
Right.
You're 15.
Matter. Yeah.
You did not consent to anything.
No. So now Joey and Dawson are still walking home from the dance, and they see Jen alone. Dawson decides to give it one last try and walks over to her. Dawson ends up asking what's between them. He apologizes for what he did tonight and said he feared he was becoming the friend. He wants to be the boy she's with. She asks why can't he be both. He says too complicated at 15. After a moment, she says she is interested, and what does she have to do? He says to kiss him, but she says she moved too fast in New York and she doesn't want to do it again here because she's afraid of stumbling. So instead, she asks him to dance. There's music playing from a couple on a date nearby on a boat. She explains to him that the kiss is just the result. It's not what's important. It's all about desire and want and romance, he finishes this with. Looks like he's finally getting it. And while they dance, Joey watches from afar, which mirrors Dawson watching Jen dance with Cliff.
Well, did you see right before he walked down to Jen that Joey was being a supportive friend by saying, I hope you get your kiss.
Yeah.
Even though she wants that kiss.
Right. That's why she stayed there. She didn't go home. She just stayed right there.
Watching.
Yeah.
Looking all depressed.
Yeah. Just torturing herself now.
And the rest of us.
Yep. And that's the end of the episode.
Oh, thank God. So what did you think of the episode?
Still pretty crazy. I'm just really surprised that Joey confronted Mrs. Leary about the affair. Really, most.
She's been confronting everybody.
Yeah. I'm just with the adults, I thought maybe it'd be different because, I mean, adult storylines in these shows were more included back then than they are now. You know, the parents are actually main characters instead of just background characters like today.
So did you have any favorite part of this episode?
No, not really. The mannequin scene was just really uncomfortable. Did you?
No. I mean, it was very hard to watch a second time. It was just so boring.
Right.
I mean, the question is it ever going to get better?
We'll see. And then best and worst characters?
Yeah, who's yours?
Well, for best, it was Jen. You know, she's just always being, you know, the bigger person and trying to, you know, be friends with Joey. And then the worst, of course, is Mrs. Leary with her affair and everything she's doing.
Wow, I'm surprised you said Jen.
Yeah. Why?
Oh, well, I mean, Jen is playing both guys.
Yeah. I don't know. I think she just was confused and didn't really know what she wanted either.
I don't know. I think all four of the kids are on equal terms. No one, I think, did better than the other one.
Right.
So my best was Mr. Leary.
Okay, yeah.
And the worst was Mrs. Leary.
Yeah.
And then what would you rate this episode?
Like out of 10? It was kind of boring.
Didn't you give the last one like a 7?
I think I even said 6.5, but this probably be even lower. Maybe like a 5.5 the most. What about you?
I'll be nice. I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was just so boring.
Yeah.
And the scenes are just so long. I mean, you can cut that in half.
Yeah.
I don't need to see a lot of that.
Right.
I don't know. It's just, compared to other shows, it's just slow moving.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, hard to watch.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll start picking up more later on.
Yeah. All right. Is that the end of our episode?
I think it is.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Yep. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about this episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us at Twitter at duochatpodcast and give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would really appreciate it.